Welcome back to another episode. I am Sticks. This is my best friend and co-host D-Lo, and we are too complex. We got a couple of things to talk about today, fam, and it's going to be something crazy, man. We still got a couple of things to talk about and go over, but some new topics that came up that we need to get into. But first of all, before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and make sure you hit the notification bell because why, D-Lo? You don't want to miss these bangers every time we drop them every single week. So make sure you do all of those things and comment on the video too because we want to see what you think about the topics as well. But D-Lo, as we talk about every single week, how was your week, my G?
My week was good for the most part. More good than bad. I wouldn't say bad, but it's more good than the negative side of it. Daughter was sick early on this weekend. So it was a lot of things that she wanted to do that we wanted to do with her or for her that we couldn't do. But she's better now, running around, being her normal self. The time forward.
My niece.
Yeah, you know how she is. The time forward kind of messed me up today. I think it messed up everybody when you lose that extra hour, but yeah, we'll get used to it. How about you?
For sure. Hey man, just another week of doing the same old thing, making sure Sam is good, making sure I'm taking care of business around this piece, but learning more things at my new position too. So
okay,
it was actually a tough week this week. I was learning some things that I didn't know and trying to get used to those things. And I'm a perfectionist within myself, so if I'm messing up and not doing something right, I'm my own worst critic.
Yeah,
but it was a good week overall. Dealership sold a lot of cars, and that was the reason for some of those. So it's coming along, man. But the same old thing. Sam is good. I'm good. We good. You feel me?
That's what's up. That's what's up, man.
Sir,
Oscars tonight. I wonder if they're gonna have increased security this year.
You know what's funny is you stupid. What's funny? I forgot all about that, but it was a little bit later last year because it was
earlier last year, wasn't it?
It was around my birthday because I was in Vegas last year whenever it happened.
Oh.
Yeah, it was later in the month.
Okay, I thought it was earlier or around this time because apparently, I don't know if you know, you may or may not, that Chris Rock has a special on Netflix and he's like talking about it.
Yeah,
it's not that. I don't think it's that funny, but
I haven't watched it yet, but I think I probably will. If you want to do a topic on it or something like that, we definitely can.
Yeah, we could talk about it maybe. But yeah, so and he's talking about it, and they said that it was the year anniversary of him being slapped. So that's why I thought it was around this time. But I guess
same month. But I think it was on the 27th. I think it was on the 27th of March last year because it was on a Sunday, and I was leaving out on my birthday on Monday from Vegas to come back to Washington.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. So they won't have a red carpet this year, which is weird. That'd be interesting.
They won't have a red carpet this year?
No, it's not going to be a red carpet this year.
Oh shit! They might. They think that Will Smith might pull up after that.
I don't know. I don't know the significance of it. Yeah. I don't know the significance of it. I just know they won't have it. So that'll be very interesting.
Nah, for sure. But what we got going on today, man? What's the topics for today, my boy?
Topics for today, we are going to talk about Gilbert Arenas making a statement to Ja about him needing to change his image. We'll talk about the New Mexico State University indefinitely suspending their basketball program and why. We'll dabble in the ESPN article asking who's the best or greatest two-way athlete of all time between Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. And then we got one that's near and dear to our heart, bro.
Man, it hurts my heart, actually.
Allegations have come out that could be damaging to the king and his legacy, LeBron James.
For sure. So let's get into it, my G. Let's do it. Let's get right
into it. Last week, the entire sports world was set ablaze when Ja Morant was suspended for his Instagram live that showed him holding a gun in a Colorado nightclub and all the events that led up to his suspension. Earlier this week, Gilbert Arenas, who has also had his issues with guns in the NBA suspension, offered Ja some advice on what he needs to do to change his image, most notably cutting his hair. Sticks and I have differences of opinion on this. So Sticks,
For the first time in Too Complex history, bro, we are on opposite
yeah.
sides.
So Sticks, what's your thoughts on Gilbert Arenas' advice to Ja Morant?
So, coming from where we come from, D-Lo, we Fayetteville is we talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one of those places where it's easy to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we were growing up, the stigma around dreads was what Gilbert Arenas is alluding to, is that it looks thuggish, it looks, to some people it looks raggedy, it looks dirty, it looks like somebody from the street, somebody who can't take care of their hair, who can't afford to get a haircut, just out here thugging it, like getting it how they live, right?
Right.
And I know a lot of people with dreads. It's a lot of people within my company in the corporate world with dreads, and natural hair these days are becoming a lot more acceptable within the corporate world, within society, to where, being natural is okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's presentable, of course, right? I personally don't think that Ja need to cut his hair. I mean, you know me. I'm not that type of dude. I actually talked to you and talked to a couple of people about actually getting dreads myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been hearing that I would look good with them, yada yada yada. That's bullshit, I think, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in the corporate world. I'm a finance manager. I have to be presentable. I wear suits to work every day, and if me wearing suits to work every day and getting dreads would be presentable, why does Ja, who is a professional athlete, who's a young kid, who's had dreads his whole career, now all of a sudden need to cut his hair?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's bullshit. What you think?
So I think Gilbert is right. And I don't think he's right in the fact of saying, for the simple fact that he is saying Ja needs to cut his hair. I think what he's alluding to and what he was trying to get at in his whole little advice monologue to Ja Morant is Ja is going to have to rebrand himself after he comes out of this whole situation. When he comes out of it, don't know. But after that, he's going to have to go through a whole rebranding process. And the completion of that rebranding process is going to have to be him changing his look, changing his image. As you mentioned earlier, the stigma and the perception of dreads and braids and natural hair in general used to be that it was tied to gang relations and thuggish activities, so on and so forth.
Right.
And so while the government did pass a law last year that bans discrimination of natural hair, braids and dreads typically seen on a man, that stigma, in my opinion, I could be completely wrong and off base with where we're moving as a country, but typically that stigma still sits with a man wearing his dreads, especially if he's had some type of negative activity behind him as well, or to deal with negative activity. I think that perception really sticks with him. And so, perception wise, I think Gil is right, because it has everything to do with how Ja will be perceived moving forward and not with Ja himself. I think this will him cutting his hair will only speed up the process of him being completing that rebrand, and maybe people seeing him in a different light. I mean, he could cut his hair. It could go either way though, right? So he could cut his hair, and people, and him being a model citizen, people still would probably not accept what he did and say, oh, he's a changed man. But it's just what our culture has to do, which is unfortunate. And that's what I want to say too before I continue to dive into it. It's unfortunate. I'm like you. I think he shouldn't have to, but if he wants to have if he wants to have the image and get back to being the Ja Morant that people know and loved before all of this happened, he probably is going to have to cut his hair, rebrand himself, and cut his hair in the completion. I'll give you one example. I can give you plenty more. Kobe Bryant, RIP. When he got before he got into all of that little allegation that happened in 2002, he had the fro. I mean, the fro is not like the dreads or braids, but it's a little bit of rebelliously seen.
Yeah.
But he cut his hair after all of that happened, and from there on out, he's pretty clean cut. I mean, that's just one example of kind of rebranding yourself, and we all know what Kobe went on to do after that. And so,
for sure,
perception wise, I think Ja will have to cut his hair. As harsh as it is, as much as we want to say no, he shouldn't have to, I think he is going to have to do that.
I still don't believe that, bro, because like perception is not always reality, dude. Like people can look at you and have their own preconceived notion about the person that you are. But until they get to know you, Jane off the street can see me walking down the street and she can see 6'6" black dude, got a hoodie on, some J's. She can I ain't got dreads, but she can look at me and think I'm a thug until she talks to me and says, oh, this dude is in corporate America. He's a finance man. He makes good money. Say he's got a good head on it. But you know what I'm saying? So like perception's not always reality.
So can I stop you right there though? I'm gonna let you keep going, but I just want to stop you right there. So,
damn, Kanye, I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you finish. But let me say what I gotta say. So, the key part of what you just said was until she gets to know you, until she talks to you. Before that, her preconceived notions are gonna be, oh, this is a tall black dude. He got on the hoodie. He might be, it's wrong. We all should not judge a book by its cover, but this is the reality that we live in and have lived in up until this point. Is somebody is going to judge you based off of how you look, and I got plenty of examples.
I feel you, but the issue is that people already know who Ja is. Ja has been on the main stage for the past.
They don't.
Just what I'm saying, right? From what we know, from what we publicly perceive about Ja, is what we already know. Grew up in a 2-parent household. He grew up pretty upper class, higher middle class. Went to a private school, did good in college. He's doing good in the NBA now. From what we've seen up until the last 2 weeks, well, over the past year, because all this stuff happened last summer and beyond. What we've seen over the past year is what people are now conceiving Ja to be, or perceiving Ja to be. Him cutting his hair is not going to change that notion. What's going to change that notion is his actions moving forward. The person that he portrays moving forward. His hair ain't got shit to do with that. He's always had dreads. Nobody's thought Ja was a thug until he started doing thug-like shit, doing hood rat things with his friends. That's when they started thinking Ja was a thug, doing all this dumb shit, being in the strip club, walking up in volleyball games, talking shit to a 17-year-old kid because he called his sister a bitch, talking to a fucking mall security dude, trying to fight him, fighting a 17-year-old kid at the pickup game. All of these things is what making him seem like a thug. His hair ain't got shit to do with that. So once he cleans his image and the way people portray him, he just got to keep it just like Gilbert said. He got to keep his nose clean for the next 2-3 years, and he's going to be skipped over for some All-Star games. He might not be picked for an All-NBA team because of this, but he just got to keep his head down, focus on basketball, and everything will change itself. I don't think he has to cut his hair for that shit to happen, bro.
So this is the thing. You are saying that because of who Ja is, we know who Ja is because of his playing prowess.
From what we've seen for the past 5 years of him being on the main stage, correct.
And he's been growing his dread since he's been in the NBA. All of that is correct. But just because we think we know Ja because of the information that's been disclosed to us, because of who he is in the NBA, and because he has had his hair that way, does not mean that he should not. I won't say should not. That cutting his hair won't help his image moving forward. And again, I'm not saying he should cut his hair, but the perception that he has or he will have moving forward, if he cuts his hair, is going to help to alleviate some of that perception.
But D-Lo, the perception ain't because of his hair, bro. The perception is because of his actions. If he changes his actions, he changes the perception, bro.
All right, Sticks. So listen. So when you go to court, I'm gonna give you a couple of examples of how this all plays in, and it's not right. I'm agreeing with you, but this is the reality that we live in. You say perception is not always reality, but in this case, it 100% is. When you go to court, and I'm asking this question, I know the answer. I just want to see if you're gonna answer it. When you go to court, most times, 9 times out of 10, what do?
I'm gonna put a suit on.
You're gonna put a suit on. That's one part of your image. If
Mhm.
your hair is wild, what else are you gonna do? Or your face is wild, what else are you gonna do?
I'm gonna clean up.
Exactly. So most people are going to cut their face, trim their beards and all that stuff, or cut their face completely. They got long hair if they can help it, or if they care, they're gonna cut their hair, or they're gonna put it back in a nice, make it look nice. That's just
But
what
why
it
can't
is.
Ja do that? Why can't Ja do that though? Why can't
Because
Ja just put it back and keep his hair and change the perception through his actions and his character? Why can't he do
because
that?
this is why Ja can't do that. Well, he can do that. He can do that.
He
But
should do that.
this is okay. So he can do that, but the fact of the matter is now Ja is not only gonna be in front of a court, the judge and the jury for 4 to 6 hours or whatever the case is. He's gonna be in front of the court of public opinion for the rest of his life, for the rest of his NBA career. So
That's why
now,
his actions are more important than his hair, bro.
yeah, his
That's
actions,
exactly what
but
he's
it's
on the
about
court of public opinion. He's a NBA superstar.
mhm,
He's gonna be in the public eye for the rest of his life.
yeah.
So
And
his hair is a minuscule part of of the character that he is, bro.
and
His actions speak louder than his demeanor. I'm trying to spit the words out because I'm getting live, but but his actions are going to speak louder than the actual his appearance.
I
Actions speak louder than appearance, bro.
I get that.
Change your actions, you change the perception. Your hair has so little to do with that, bro.
I
Because
get that.
going back to your court example.
Mhm,
I have hair on my head now, right?
mhm.
I have quote unquote Kobe with the fro. I have a fro. I have like a high top fade.
Mhm.
If I have to go to court, I'm not cutting it because I'm going to court. I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna make sure it looks neat. I'm gonna edge myself up in my face, and I'm gonna put my suit on and go to court. I'm not cutting this off just because I'm going to court. Fuck what you think about how I look. Think
That's
about how the man is whenever I portray this man to you. Think about the man, not what I look like.
but
That
Sticks,
shit's
you and I
stupid.
both know that's
Society,
not
bro.
you and I
But
both know that's
it's
not how society works, bro. You and I both know that. I mean, regardless of how you feel about this situation, about Ja and his hair, about how people perceive you, maybe people are going to perceive Ja moving forward. You and I both know that is not reality. You know that people are going to judge or have judged him or will continue to judge him based off of how he looks. He can change, he could come back and be a part of the 12 disciples. And they still going, you know what I'm saying? They still going to judge
nah,
him.
that ass though.
They still going to judge him based off of how he looks because of the shit that he's done the last year. They're going to say he has thuggish he's done thuggish actions, and he still has the hair that may we can
Come
perceive.
on,
Listen,
D-Lo. Come
I
on,
know
bro.
you what you this is how we got into this whole thing because we were talking about this back and forth. I
Right,
agree with you.
right.
He should not cut his hair.
Have to cut his hair.
He should not have to cut his hair. But
Right.
because of perceptions, and if he wants to gain all the regain all of the things that he has had before this point, I don't think he's losing any of his Memphis Grizzly contract as of right now that we know of.
Right.
But we are starting to see some endorsements being taken away from him. If he
Mhm.
wants to regain all of that, he's going to have to go through a rebranding process. And the completion of that rebranding process is going to be him cutting his hair, regardless of
He's
how you
so
feel.
corny.
Exactly. But that has
They
nothing
got
to
that
do
word
with
again,
our
corny.
culture. It
Right.
has nothing to do with the black culture. It has everything to do with how corporate America and white society views that type of hairstyle. You and I both know that, and that's the argument that I'm making. It has nothing to do with our culture. If it was up to us, no, man, don't cut your hair. Be strong. Your hair is where your strength comes from. Is what
That's what I'm telling them to do.
you know what I'm
Don't
saying?
fucking cut your hair. Be strong and change your character,
It
change
ain't
your
happening.
actions, change your image, and change your image with your actions, bro. Change your image with your actions. You don't have to change your appearance to change your perception, bro. I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe in that shit. You know
It
what?
ain't about
Just
what you
because of this
believe, though,
argument,
bro.
just because of this argument, I'm getting dreads, nigga. Fuck it. I'm
I
getting
know you
dreads.
ain't. I know you're
Who
not,
am I?
but
I'm
it's
not.
okay.
I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah,
'Cause I don't think I'm just because I don't think I'm gonna look good with them. But
yeah.
bruh, it's just it's so stupid, D-Lo. It's so dumb. I don't like how society has this stronghold on appearance, bro. From dreads to beauty standards to fat shaming to BBLs to all of this shit. Society has a stronghold on appearance, and that shit is fucking corny. That shit is so corny to me, dog. Like, I don't fucking know, bro. I don't know. It's just, I just feel like, and I'm strong in my stance. Ja, if you see this fucking video, hopefully you will like and subscribe. Make sure you don't cut your hair, bro. I don't think you should do it. If your publicist and your whoever thinks that you should do it, dog. Okay, if you feel like that's what you need to do, I support your opinion. I just your decision. I just don't think you should have to. You change your perception through your actions and your character moving forward. Fuck cutting your hair, bro. I don't like the idea of you doing it. I
And
don't.
and so
I don't.
in this situation, in every situation that we talk about, I'll tell you to, and I'll preface this by saying I agree with you. I don't
I
think he
know.
should
I know.
cut his hair, but take your feelings out of it. And what would you suggest he do if your feelings were gone? Like if you were saying, "All right, bro," and it's not about money. I know the last couple of weeks we talked about some topics where money was a big issue. So I don't want it to be about money. If money was excluded from this situation, what would you tell John Morant to do in changing in regarnering the image that he had prior to everybody knowing what he was doing in his free time?
What would I if Ja was like me and you?
If Ja was like me and you, right?
Not an NBA
Not
superstar,
an
not
NBA
on the
superstar.
not in the court of public opinion.
Yeah,
What would I
not
tell Ja to
none
do?
of that. And he got into some type of issue to where maybe potentially he lost his job. Some of the things that he had starting to snowball and get in line for him, he lost all of that. Removing your current feelings about it out of the way, what would be some advice that you gave him?
The first thing I would tell Ja is I would tell him to watch the company that he keeps. Number one. Number two, if you want to keep that same company, don't take those same actions that your company that your company is whatever they do. If you don't agree with it, if you're just doing it just to fit in, which is what I think Ja is doing, honestly. If you're doing it just to fit in, if that's not how you really feel, don't go along with the bullshit. Peer pressure is a real fucking drug, bro. Thirdly, I would tell Ja that moving forward, the things that you did, leave those in the past and turn over a new leaf. I'm never going to tell Ja to cut his hair, bro. I'm never going to tell him to do it. Even if he was just a regular guy working at Enterprise, and he went out and was on live on some dumb shit and he got caught up with it and was suspended, not fired, but was suspended from the job. The first thing I wouldn't tell him to do would be to cut his hair. I'd be like,
Okay.
bro, like, okay, that was something stupid that you did. Do you think you're gonna do it again? No? All right, cool. Well, that's one thing that you realize was dumb. The second thing you need to realize that's dumb is the reason why you in the situation is because of the company you keep. Get away from them niggas. Get away from them niggas. They can still be homies, but love them from a distance because they're the reason why you in a lot of this bullshit that you in. But cut your head, bro. I think that's an extreme, bro. To change your whole appearance, to change public perception is extreme to me.
So let me ask you this. As things continue to come out, as allegations continue to come out, what if hypothetically he's charged with something and found guilty? We already and we're not talking about NBA Ja. We're talking about regular Ja. We're talking about a regular person. You know how hard it is for a convicted felon of any kind to get a job, let alone get a job with a conviction and certain hairstyle. Even though the bill was passed last year that doesn't allow discrimination, you still would tell him not to cut his hair? I find it hard to
So
believe, bro.
him going to jail, they most likely gonna cut it anyway.
No, they don't cut. Do they? They don't think they do that in jail. You can be in jail.
I'm thinking military. I'm
You
tripping.
thinking
My fault.
military?
I'm thinking military. So
That's what, and this is the point I'm trying to get to you is, and he has not been convicted with anything right
he
now.
hasn't been not
Right.
not in the
Not
state
in-
of not in the state of Denver. Yeah.
Right.
Or
He hasn't.
Colorado. Not in
Yeah,
Denver.
he hasn't been convicted in the court. And this
Right.
is where I think your anger is coming from. Is in the court of public opinion, he is guilty.
100%.
In the court of public
100%.
opinion, he's guilty. So in order to fast track any type of gaining where he was prior to all of this happening, he's going to have to, which he's already done, issue an apology. He's going to have to
He gonna have to actually come out and apologize. Fuck a written one. He gonna have to like come out and be on video like us and like make a fucking public statement in front of the Grizzlies and in front of the world, bro. That's what he gonna have to do for real.
I mean, he will do that, but at least he's issued some type of statement.
Right.
On the opposite of what's been going on right now. He's going to have to lay low for a little bit, or just, not do anything, come back to playing basketball, continue to ball how he's been balling. And then he's also going to, at some point, like you said, he's going to have to address it publicly, showing his face, showing the remorse, showing all of that. And then the final part of that, whether you like it or not, and I don't like it, but it's him cutting his hair, because in the court of public opinion, he is guilty. And if he was found guilty in court and he was trying to regain all the things that he had after leaving, serving his time and trying to get a job, a part of that path to getting all of that back would be changing his image as well. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Changing your image don't mean changing your appearance, though, D-Lo, but that's all I'm saying.
All right. I mean,
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I think
we agree to disagree. I think you know what I'm trying to say, but because you're stuck on,
and I know what you're trying to say, and I agree with you that in the court of public opinion, he's guilty. If it was just a regular, everyday guy like us, if he got convicted, did his time, and now he's out and he still has the dreads, he's going to be looked at as the same person as before he went in, right? That's what you're trying to say, right? And he should cut his hair to change the perception. That's what you're trying to say. I 100% agree with you on that. 100%. My only thing is that, again, I'm going to say you're right. My only thing is that I don't feel like appearance dictates perception. I don't think appearance dictates character. I don't think the hair makes the man. The man, the actions and your character and how you carry yourself make the man. So he's been carrying himself like those dreads mean thug here over the past year.
Right.
But prior to this past year, he's been carrying himself like this man, and he's been carrying himself like the dreads mean star athlete, model young man. Before this last year, the dreads meant absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was just a guy with dreads that's a good kid, that's a superstar basketball player.
Right.
It did absolutely nothing. Nobody was talking about John's hair before last summer.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he got to cut his hair because he's a thug now, and the dreads mean thug. Fuck that shit, bro. That shit is stupid.
And chill on the F-bombs too, though. But look, so you are correct. If Ja's in our circle, if Ja's in any other circle outside of the circles that he's in, and or the presence that he's in, or the eyes that view him on an ongoing basis, then he has to He can keep his hair. All that stuff means nothing. It doesn't mean thug. It doesn't mean gangster. It doesn't mean he doing hood stuff with his friends. None of that. It means Ja
Right.
is a great athlete. He's expressing himself not only through his athletic abilities but also through his hair. I'm going to go back to that is not how it works in what he is in the eyes that he's in now, in the company that he's in now, other than the ones that are directly around him and that was doing all the stuff with him. I'm talking about the Memphis Grizzly organization. I'm talking about Nike. I'm talking about Gatorade, Coca-Cola, all those type of companies that he has endorsements with. That's the people that he has to change, the image that he has to change for
But they
now.
gave him these endorsements with the image he has now, though, D-Lo.
Yeah, but that was before all of this stuff came out.
And that's my point. Before all of this bullshit, his hair didn't matter. It shouldn't matter moving forward, bro. That's my point. That's my point.
It should not. It should not. It should not. Keyword, underline, bold. Should not. But it will, is all I'm saying to you. And that's why I said I agree with Gilbert Arenas with the perception part of it, because he will be perceived, the hair will be perceived as whatever it will be perceived by corporations. At some point in time, as we continue to evolve, if we continue to evolve and be more inclusive, as we try to be in this country, it's not going to matter. But that is not this point in time, whether we like it or not. And so until that time, again, we're agreeing with each other without agreeing with each other. And but until that time, we both think he should not cut his hair. But where our difference of opinion is the perception of the hair is why he should cut his hair. And you're saying he shouldn't for the matter of perception and moving forward, how people will perceive him. I'm saying he should for a matter of perception, moving forward, how people will perceive him. And so, I mean, we all know that perception is reality, whether we think it's fair or not. But it's how we're perceived is how people will treat us.
I think most people think that their perception is reality. I think most people think that way. And that is not never really the case. One person's perception does not dictate a full reality of anything. But like you said, I think we agree, but we're on two opposite ends of the spectrum, where you saying that you don't think he should, you don't think he has to, but he should. I don't think he should or has to. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I said, this like we've been talking about for the longest, man. The topic is is too complex to the point that it's like we could keep going on a tangent of why he should, why he shouldn't for the longest. But I'm gonna take this as a too complex first. This is the first time me and D-Lo actually disagreed about some shit.
Yeah. I mean, and so, we completely agreed. I mean,
completely agreed,
but we didn't agree. Yeah. So I mean, but ultimately, y'all let us know what you think about this. Do you think Josh should cut his hair for a matter of perception, or don't you think he should? Or how do you say that? Did I say that wrong?
Do you not think?
Do you not think? Wow.
Yeah.
Do you not think he should cut his hair for a matter of perception? I mean, you already know where we stand. Let us know what you think.
Don't forget also like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss no videos for sure.
All right, in a bizarre story, very bizarre, the New Mexico State basketball program has indefinitely suspended their program after multiple reports of hazing on the team. This following an incident where one of the players allegedly was involved in a fatal shooting in which the coaching staff tried to cover it up. Wow. Sticks.
Something crazy.
This story is crazy. I mean, crazy. What's your take on the situation?
So I'm gonna let D-Lo get into the part about the coaches covering up, because I honestly didn't know that. I didn't see that in my research. I didn't know they tried to cover it. I know they was being real vague with the investigation with what was going on, but I didn't know they was trying to cover it up.
They tried to, from what I heard, they tried to get rid of or hide the weapon. Not get rid of it, but hide it. And like you said, then also in turn be vague with the questions or allowing the players to answer questions. So yeah.
Yeah. So this whole situation started the context is between two universities, New Mexico State University and University of New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole situation started at a football game where Mike Peake, which is one of the basketball players, a junior basketball player at the time for New Mexico State, and a gentleman named Brandon Travis. They were both at the football game, and after the New Mexico State beat New Mexico State beat University of New Mexico, in the football game, and then a fight broke out on the field after the game was over. Brandon Travis and Mike Peake got into a scuffle, and Mike Peake got the best of Buddy. So it's not a laughing matter, but that's just my personality. I'm sorry if I come off as messed up. But Mike Peake got the best of Buddy, and Buddy didn't want to let that go. So all of a sudden, Mike Peake starts talking to this young lady online, young lady named Maya, and they make plans to meet up with each other around the time that New Mexico State plays New Mexico in basketball, because they had to come to University of New Mexico, and they was going to link up, and y'all know what link up mean. So the basketball team, they stayed at the hotel. Basketball team has a midnight curfew. Assistant coaches go check all the rooms. All the kids is in there. You know what I'm saying?
Wild, bro.
The coaches go check all the rooms. Midnight is crazy. But I don't know, what was y'all curfew? Because our curfew was earlier than that.
Yeah, bro. Our curfew was like first off, we could not leave. We could not leave the team hotel.
We couldn't leave the hotel at all, bro.
Secondly, we had to be in our room most nights by 8:30.
Ours was 9.
Yeah,
and they said they tried to say lights out at 11, but we grown as hell.
Yeah, grown as hell. How you gonna tell me? You got to be in your room. Yeah, you had to be in your room by 8:30.
We had to be.
It might have been 9. It's a while ago. You know, shit skips my memory, but
that's the even crazier part, is that we was in school 03 to 07.
Yeah.
This is 2022, and they got a midnight curfew with all the bullshit that's going on these days.
Yeah, trying to get leniency and all that stuff, man.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, that was 20 years ago, D-Lo.
Yeah. We said that before, man. Stop dating us, bro.
Oh, my bad. Okay, but
back to the shit, man. My fault.
Back to it. But they had a midnight curfew. All the assistant coaches came, checked all the rooms. All the kids was in there. Around about 1:30 in the morning is when Mike Peake peeled. He left the hotel, got an Uber to go meet up with the young lady at the University of New Mexico. They had cameras all over the dorms, but he was seen walking outside one of the dorms with the young lady whenever 3 guys approached him. And did you catch their names?
Mm-mm.
So it was Brandon Travis, a gentleman named Jonathan Smith, and another gentleman named Elijah Upshaw.
Okay, I didn't get into that.
So I got into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Elijah Upshaw runs up on Mike Peake, the basketball player, and hits him with a bat. Mike Peake is trying to get away. Brandon Travis pulls out the blicky and fires off a couple of times at Mike Peake, hitting him in the leg. He ain't know Mike Peake was also strapped. Mike Peake turns around and fires back 4 times. Pow, 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 pow. Hits him all 4 times.
You sound like Soulja Boy.
Pow, 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 pow.
This is not funny, man. It's not funny, but it's just the way you're telling this story.
Hit him all 4 times. He hit him twice in the chest, once in the groin, and another time in the arm. Unfortunately, the two shots to the chest were fatal shots. They're trying to the problem that I have with the situation is, number one, him leaving after curfew and being irresponsible, number one. But number two, they're trying to paint Mike Peake as a killer when he's actually, to me, in my eyes, he was actually the victim. You know what I'm saying? This was a kid that got into a fight with Mr. Travis, God rest his soul, at a football game months before. Bruh couldn't let it go. He tried to set Buddy up, and it ended up, in his demise, which is unfortunate. And the media over the past, because this happened last year in November, and the media over the past 5 months have now been trying to paint Mike Peake as this villain, when Was he responsible? 100%. He should have never.
Irresponsible.
Super irresponsible. He was dumb irresponsible. He should have never even had the if, in hindsight, if he wasn't irresponsible, he wouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. But if he didn't have a gun with him, he you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's so many ways you can look at this, but it's like, why are you painting Mike as the villain when he was the one that was really, they were really out to get him? But what you think,
Yeah.
bro? What you got
So
going on?
in regard to what you just said, because like I said, I didn't even look at this part. I knew it played a role in why the AD or the athletic director and the president of the university said that the program needed to just reset in general, but I didn't go into depth with this. I just knew that I knew the person that was involved from the program, and I knew that something had happened at a football game prior to it. But in regard to that, I would say old buddy's awareness might peak. His awareness was very low. And,
Very, very low. I agree.
and he was being irresponsible because just me in general, and I think a lot of people that I know and love and hang around would probably be the same way. But again, we are older as well. So maybe hindsight 2020, go back to when we were 19, 20, 21, maybe we would have did the same thing. But if you have gotten into a fight in a particular area, you know, because I think now this is what I think I do remember. You know that the dude couldn't let it go. Y'all have been talking back and forth on Instagram for since that time, or at least that's what has been said. Why are you gonna put yourself in a situation to where just for a little piece of the triangle, you gonna leave your room in the same place that you got into a fight to? Spidey sense has got to be
Well,
going
no.
off.
So the fight happened at New Mexico State. The
No, I saw.
basketball game was in Albuquerque. It was the football game was at New Mexico State. The football game was at New Mexico State. The basketball game was at New Mexico.
You sure? I
So
thought it was
yeah,
at New Mexico.
the fight and the shooting didn't happen at the same place.
Okay, so maybe that's what.
Yeah.
Still though.
Yeah.
If you fighting with, did he knew the cat went to New Mexico though?
Yeah, he knew the cat went to New
All right,
Mexico.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Awareness is dumb low. Yeah.
I'm not saying he should fear for his life at all times when he's in that area. That's not what I'm saying, but
Right.
you got to understand, like, we live in a different time. Cats just be doing reckless, dumb stuff just because it don't matter. It don't matter. Like, life is not precious. I said this before. Life is just not precious to this generation. They do not care about your life whatsoever. So any
They
type of
don't, bro.
situation that sets them off or they don't agree with or embarrasses them, whatever the case is, they ready to take your life, or at least try to. And
At least try to.
unfortunately for the person that tried to take Mike Pete's life, his life got taken. But I mean, oh boy, Mike Pete got to be more aware of the situation
For
than
sure.
what he showed, and it's all because of what? The triangle. It's undefeated, bro.
triangle.
It's
I tell
undefeated.
you, boy.
And if you know what a
I'm telling you.
triangle is, y'all know what I'm talking about.
I would say it, but I think D-Lo might.
Yeah. Just leave it alone, bro.
I'm gonna
You
leave it
don't
alone. But
you
nah,
left a lot of strays today already. You normally save it to
but
the
nah,
end.
that last top. But either way,
Yeah.
but nah, he definitely the irresponsible because me, I've had a lot of experiences in the past, but I've never done anything while I was with my team though. Like I've never
Right.
left a team hotel. I was because my focus was football or basketball. Like,
Right.
man, I ain't worried about. I can holler at Shorty after the game type. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, we'll kick it after the
You
game,
come
but I'm
to
not
my
coming to kick
spot.
it with you. Or you can come to my spot, or just prime example,
Maybe not.
Coach Prime. Coach Prime, whenever he was talking to his team, was like, "Y'all ain't leaving this motherfucker. If they want to see you, they gonna come see you at this hotel." You know what I'm saying? So they should have said he should have did something like that.
Right.
I mean, worst case scenario, sneak Shorty in, but even that's irresponsible. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what
He
I'm
could
saying.
go
That's
down
why I
to
said,
the
or maybe
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Or just don't even worry about it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'll kick it with you, or you can come to Las Cruces. You can come to New Mexico State if you want to, but I'm not. Bro, you got a homie. I got an old boy out here. He don't really fuck with me. I don't know where he gonna be at all times. Whatever. Like, you just got to be more self aware. You got to be aware of your surroundings. Like you said, don't be fearful. Don't fear for your life all the time. But at the same time, know your surroundings, know your environment, know that you at a place where you beat Buddy up and he might be trying to get back, run the ones one more time.
Right.
But nah, I wouldn't have did it. I mean, it ain't that serious to us, but this generation is a little bit different. So
100%. But then, so after that, you have the hazing portion of why they indefinitely suspended the program, and
talk about it.
this is crazy. I mean, it's crazy because the degree of hazing that went on. As you and I know, as all of those individuals that have been a part of fraternities, sororities, athletics, whatever, there's some element of there's some element of hazing that goes on. And whether we like to realize it or not, all of us that have been employed have been hazed to a degree as
To a
well.
degree.
You don't even really think of it. 90-day probation is a form of hazing. And the reason it
100%.
is because you're not held to the same regard as employees that have been employed by that company past 90 days. So any little thing that you do in those 90 days where it's asking for time off, which you typically can't do, or whatever the
Right.
case may be, they can take away your employment. So that's a form of hazing. But anyway, so hazing has gone on or does apply or exist in all throughout America, whether we like to believe it or not. And I'm sure everybody's heard of the professional hazing that rookies do nowadays, where they either pay for their teammates' meal or they have to carry some object, whether it's their bags, pads in football, whatever the case is. That's hazing there.
They be running them bills up too. They be running them bills up. But them dinners, boy,
Yeah, man,
$100,000 dinners.
you know
That's
what I'm
crazy
saying?
hazing right there, bro.
Crazy.
Wow. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I mean, I can see where hazing has its place. Where individuals are trying to join a group of people because you want to make sure that the person earns their due in your organization. You want to make sure that they show some form of loyalty. But in this case, this shit is very extreme. You had false imprisonment, criminal sexual contact. I think in a report, the unnamed person came to So in the report, the person came to the campus police and reported that he had been hazed since the previous summer. And in the report, he said that 3 individuals held him down, and he wasn't the only one. 3 individuals held him down, stripped him of his clothes, and inappropriately touched him. And oftentimes, this was done in front of the whole team. So to me, that is prison culture. 100%. Prison
100%.
culture. Like, you stripping people and inappropriately touching them, and so the first thing that comes to my mind when you say inappropriately touching after you hold them down face down, stripping them of their clothes is trying to put something,
You in
that's the first
the
thing.
private regions.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to me. And so the kid, all these people were unnamed, but the kid said he wasn't the only one. So like, it's just
right.
I mean, I don't know where to go with the rest of it, and I can see 100% why the AD and the president was like, "Nah, you had this dude involved in something else off campus. You have all of this hazing going on campus. Nah,
They don't
we
have no
need
control of this organization.
there's no control of this program
There's no
whatsoever.
control.
Let's restart."
You got to restart because I heard the reports of the hazing. I just didn't know to the extent, and that is crazy. So now you got New Mexico State didn't deserve a basketball program at all because the AD, the coaching staff, the players within the program didn't know how to control themselves. And like you said, I get it. It's been whenever I first got to Central, it wasn't nowhere close to that extreme, but I had to. It was like 3 senior wide receivers on the team, and I had to carry all day pads, and you know what I'm saying, to the bus, and I'm lugging this heavy, you know what I'm saying, that kind of hazing, like small shit like that. But it won't never nothing to the extent of being stripped butt naked and being touched inappropriately.
Yeah.
We got to run the ones, bro. Like, I don't,
100%.
I don't give a damn about this organization. We fighting, my G.
Right.
Like, there's no way that you're going to get away with you putting something somewhere that ain't entering something in the exit, and we ain't going to fight.
Or even just touching me in any type of way that makes me, or makes me think differently of you or myself.
Facts.
So
Facts.
yeah, nah. We can't do that.
We can't do that.
That ain't gonna fly. And not to the extent of the first situation that happened at New Mexico State, where I feel like I gotta carry a gun, let you know what's up. But I mean, it's gonna be some type of, it's definitely gonna be some type of conversation had. And like I've said before, I'm not confrontational, but don't try me like that.
Nah, facts. Yeah, I ain't no what Pac say. I ain't no killer, but
Yeah,
don't push
me. You know what I'm saying?
don't push me, because that's something that will push me to thoroughly defend myself.
100%.
For lack of a better phrase, without saying too much. You do something like that, I got to defend myself. But getting back to the whole situation about Mike Peake, so the two, of course, unfortunately, old buddy lost his life, but the other two guys and the young lady have been charged with conspiracy and, let me go back and find it so that way I ain't saying the wrong things. But they have both been charged. The young lady was under 18 at the time it happened, so she was put in juvie. She was 17 years old. Mike Peake at the time
she was in
20.
college.
She was in college. She was a freshman in college. She hadn't yet turned 18.
Yeah.
So in opposed to, but the thing that I don't like is that, so the young lady was charged, but she was put in juvie.
Mm-hmm.
If that was a 17-year-old man,
100%, he going to jail.
He'd have been put in prison.
Yeah, they're gonna try him as an adult.
They're gonna try him as a full. She was charged with conspiracy and aggravated assault, and they took her to juvie. Mm-hmm. I'm like, bruh. So she probably got slapped on the wrist. She probably back in school at this point. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to say something to make you mad, but it's gonna tie into the last segment. That perception, bro.
That is perception. With her being sent to juvie, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, because they're gonna say she was not the brains of the operation. She just played a role.
True.
And because she's a woman, she doesn't need to be charged as
strictly as the men.
Exactly.
But see, but I'm gonna go just tie back to the last segment too. I also think that's stupid.
Exactly, but that's not the reality we live in. Is what I'm saying.
I feel you. So, but but the whole time, and did you? I know you did your research. Did you saw the part where they said that they were putting it was 3 people. It looked like a coach and 2 players along with Mike Peake. They were trying to hide the gun in the trunk of a yellow Camaro and trying to discard of it.
Wait, you said earlier that you didn't know anything about that.
No, I didn't know about. Well, okay.
You said the coaches, and yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So I did see that. I thought it was more than just that.
Nah. That was a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. They were, but so whenever I was researching, I was like, well, he did take an Uber, and maybe the Uber was a yellow Camaro, but nah, that was one of the coaches' whips. That yellow Camaro was one of the coaches' whips, and they were trying to make sure that strap was discarded of.
Yeah.
So
because
it's like
it's similar to, well, I'm not gonna bring that situation up again. But
it is though.
He has the weapon on him on a team bus traveling to another location, and then he has it in the hotel. He has it with him that's just having it alone can be enough to
problematic.
Yeah, it could be enough to hurt his case in the future.
Facts. And then having it, like you said, having it travel with you to another location, semblance of what we talk about, having it travel with you, and then you taking it with you, leaving, being irresponsible, leaving at the curfew, going to try to get some of that triangle, and then you end up doing something stupid. It all comes down to the lack of responsibility and the lack of self-awareness. Like, bro, this is a business trip. Why are you, number one, why are you bringing the strap with you? And then number two, why are you leaving the team hotel to go do anything? Why are you leaving in the first place? You shouldn't be leaving. You should be in your room, kicking it with your teammates and relaxing before the game the next day. Why?
So it's easy to say why you have this, why you have that, but I mean, obviously he did have it and it did save his life, but
this is what I need to tell him. Hey, you dropped this. Damn dummy.
Yeah, so I mean, he had it, it saved his life, but it's just the whole awareness of the situation of where he is. Because I'm sure there was some telltale sign that old boy was trying to get his get back. Now, to the extent that he was trying to have his get back, who knows? But I'm sure there was some sign to Mike Pete, his teammates, whatever, that old boy was trying to get his get back. I think, but I don't want to. I don't want to go too much into this as far as Mike Pete and that situation. The program itself has to, and not to cut that off for you. If you talk about it, we can keep talking about it. But
we good.
The program in itself, they got a long way to go to get back to. Last year, they had a first round upset in the NCAA tournament. Now there is no program.
There is no program.
They go from having a somewhat successful season to having maybe a felon on their team, and then a team full of hazers that just dismantled the culture of New Mexico State basketball. And so the AD and the president have a big job ahead of them to hire the right person to lead them into the future.
They do. And they definitely have a lot of they have a brand to rebuild because that the brand of that university right now, not the university, but the basketball program at this point is non-existent at this point. Number one, because they don't have a program anymore. But moving forward, whenever they do reinstate the program, they have to do a damn good job to change the perception of this program. So hopefully going forward, man, I mean, I kind of feel for Mike Peake a little bit because yes, he was dumb. Yes, he was irresponsible. Yes, his self-awareness was lacking in that moment. Thank God he had the gun on him.
Right.
But he should have never been in that situation to begin with. And that's where the self-awareness and the responsibility comes into it. But I don't know, man. It's so complex. There's so many moving parts to this thing, man, that, you know, they got to figure something out over there in New Mexico State for sure.
100%.
100%.
So last week, ESPN posed a question asking who was the greatest two-sport athlete of all time? Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders. Right into it, Sticks. Who you going with?
Me personally, I'm going with Prime. I'm going with Prime off the ripper. But Bo has a strong argument. Now, well, is it that strong, those Sticks? I don't know if it's even really that. First off, it's Prime. Prime is out of these two people, Prime is the better two-sport athlete.
What other two people were there?
Well, no. There wasn't out of these two because there's been other people who have played dual sports.
Who? And the pros? Name them.
Yes.
Name
Charlie.
them.
Oh no. You know what? You're right. Because Charlie Ward definitely didn't. He played in the NBA. He didn't play in the NFL. Did he play in the NFL?
No.
He played football at Florida State.
Basketball.
He chose to play basketball. Okay, you're right. Okay, bet. So between Prime and Bo, Prime is definitely the better two-sport athlete. He had a way better football career. Had a way better football career, and that's mainly because Bo was limited with injuries, and he was in a terrible organization with the Raiders at the time. They got better, but when he was there, they were not a good organization. They were kind of holding Bo back. Bo actually did a good job while he was there. He made Marcus Allen move to fullback so he can be the feature back. He had a really good career when he was actually playing. But whenever you're looking at the baseball field, their careers in baseball are very, 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 very similar.
Right.
Very similar. The only thing that Bo has on Deion is home runs, but that's just because Deion wasn't a power hitter. He was a base hitter.
Right.
He was a situational hitter. But when it comes to a lot of different things like on base percentage, wins above replacement, they're very close, very close.
Deion has
When
more
you look at
steals.
Deion has way more, 100 more steals.
Right.
But whenever you look at the stats, Bo had a better career in baseball, but Deion is not too far behind at all.
You think so?
Yeah, because when you look, because it's two different positions though. Like they were both really good outfield defenders.
Mm-hmm.
Deion was a better base runner,
Mm-hmm.
but Bo was a better hitter.
Okay.
They played almost the same amount. I'm gonna read the stats off to you real quick before you do that. Deion played 641 games. Bo played 694.
Mm-hmm.
Deion had 2,100 at bats. Bo had 2,300 at bats.
Mm-hmm.
Deion scored 308 runs. Bo scored 341. 558 hits for Deion. 598 hits for Bo. 415 RBIs for Bo. 168 for Deion. 159 walks for Deion. 200 walks for Bo. Strikeouts 841 for Bo. That's because he was up there just swinging at everything. 352 strikeouts for Deion. 39 home runs for Deion. 141 home runs for Bo. 186 steals for Deion. 82 steals for Bo. Even though Bo was a fast dude at his size,
and that's why that's surprising to me.
Exactly. But he just didn't have really good base running knowledge. Like he was just running just to be running sometimes. Like I was looking at some highlights at him trying to steal bases. He would be inching to go and the pitcher still looking at him like, nigga, are you really moving? Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, and he'd just take off while the pitcher looking at him and he'd just get thrown out. Like, bro, he could have had way more steals if he had better base running knowledge. But he was so fast and so big that he was just naturally good at the sport. I think both of them were naturally good at the sport. I also think Deion was also better at the sport.
At football.
But at baseball. But their careers are very oddly similar, to be honest.
And so
other than the hitting stats, but they're very oddly similar.
To me, that's a wash, honestly. I'm going to say it's a wash.
100%.
Yeah. Baseball is a wash. And so you finished? Continue if you ain't.
You done?
Continue if you ain't.
Are you done?
Yeah,
I'm good. You can move it. You can move it.
So I think my initial thought, without even doing any research, was, oh yeah, Prime all day. Just because Prime Deion Sanders, one, we know him. I had a poster in my room. Was it? I can't even remember now. I had it in my fucking room. Excuse my language. Water covers 1/3 of the earth, Deion covers the rest, or 2/3 of the earth, Deion covers the rest.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had that poster in my room. The Deion Sanders shoes. I mean, because we don't talk about the totality of everything. I mean, Bo Jackson had his own shoes too.
Yeah, he had his own shoes too.
Those are in the culture as well. But Deion had the shoes. Deion had the bandana that everybody wore back in the day underneath their helmet. Deion had the sweatband on his neck. The Jerry curl that look wet, but it was dry.
He did say that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, Prime had all that. He said when he was getting drafted, he glad he went to Atlanta because if Detroit was going to draft him, he's going to ask for so much money that they had to put him on layaway. Deion just had all that stuff, and without seeing him play, you knew who Deion was because of all that.
100%.
But then you look at the stats, you look at the film. Unfortunately, Bo Jackson had a short NFL career. He played 6 seasons. And, had he had a longer career, we may be talking differently. And so the sample size that he had in the NFL, it was a good sample size. He had he played 38 games, 515 rushes, 2,782 yards, 16 touchdowns. That's fairly decent for 6 seasons.
Very, very decent for 6 seasons.
But since we said baseball is a wash, Deion Sanders was a way better football player.
Way better football player.
He played more positions, and he was dominant. He was dominant specifically at DB, but at punt return, kick return, and receiver,
low key dominant there too. I ain't gonna lie.
He excelled in those positions. I'm not gonna say he was dominant, but he excelled in those positions as well. But what makes Deion just that deal is in a league that wasn't as pass happy as it is now, he had 24 interceptions in his first 5 seasons. 24 interceptions. So I looked up, this is a stat that I looked up. I looked up what was the average passing attempts back in the day. And I couldn't get a collective of the average passing attempts, but what I could see was the top passing attempts by quarterback. And I didn't want to do all that math of putting all those numbers in, but I saw that from 1989 to 1994, the average, the top 5 or 6 passers, they were around 550 passing attempts per game. Per
season.
year, per season, right? Compared to nowadays, the top 5 is around 600, almost 700 passing attempts per season. So that's what they play 16 games back then. That's an average of 30 passing attempts a game.
34
passing attempts a game. And so Prime had 24 picks from 34 pass attempts per, and an average league pass 34 passing attempts a game. To now, if he played, if he had the same production, he probably would have in the first 5 seasons of his career, he probably would have somewhere like 40, almost 50 picks a game.
They're averaging 41 pass attempts a year this year. I mean, like recently, over the past 5 years, they've been averaging 41 pass attempts a game each season. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's 8 more than what it was. Well, 7 more, a little bit more than 7 more than what it was back in from 89 to 94.
Right, and on top of the fact that he had those 24, it's been rumored that in those seasons, coaches told quarterbacks to not even look to Deion's side. Like if he's over there, don't look that way. You throw the other way. Your reads are on this side, and he still had 24 picks. Where does that? I mean, that is dominance. So in my eyes, Deion Sanders, just from football alone, and because baseball is a wash between him and Bo Jackson, is the greatest two-way athlete of all time.
And we ain't even talking about. We talk about DB. We talked about punt return, kick return. We ain't even talk about him playing receiver.
Yep.
Because the man had 60 catches, 784 yards, and 3 touchdowns over his career as well. He played both sides of the ball. Deion, of course, Deion was an amazing athlete, and so was Bo Jackson. But Bo Jackson didn't play linebacker. Bo Jackson was a running back. And that's all he was a running back. So, and he had no 1,000-yard rushing seasons because he was played by injuries and he was played by a terrible organization at the time. So, like, we could be, like D'Lo said, we could be having a different conversation if Bo had a longer career and had a more standout career and was maybe with a different organization, maybe. But this argument is head over heels Deion Sanders, 100%.
All day.
Head over heels Deion Sanders, all day, every day.
Yep. Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I know ESPN is just trying to get some type of interaction with the fans, but I don't even know why they put this out. Because if
they should have.
Yeah, because if you
but people,
really dig into it,
favorites,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, obviously. But if you really dig into it, it's like, damn, it's Deion without even a thought. But
flying colors. You know what I'm saying? It's a landslide Deion Sanders, 100%.
Yeah. All right, man. So I'm scratching my head on this, man.
I don't know, man.
Debating about it. But I mean, it is what it is. So I don't even know how to say this dude's name. How you say his name? Kale
Sonnen.
Kale Sonnen. There you go. Kale Sonnen on the Flagrant 2 podcast made a bold accusation. He claimed that big bold, capital letters, underline,
italicized,
red letters, bold,
yellow highlights.
He claimed to know that the NBA's all-time leading scorer and current Los Angeles Laker, LeBron James, has or is using performance-enhancing drugs, stating, "We have the same drug guy. I know exactly what he takes." Sticks, what's your thoughts on this?
When I saw this headline, bro, whenever you sent this to me, I was like, bruh, ain't no way they trying to damage this man perception like
Mm-hmm.
this. Like, so of course LeBron James at this point in time, he's my favorite player, and Michael Jordan is always gonna be my favorite player of all time, but LeBron is my favorite player right now of this generation. Best player of this generation, 100%, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that LeBron right now is in his 20th season, and he's still going strong, averaging 30 points a game. This man puts millions of dollars into his body he publicly lets people know about his workout regimen, the things that he does to keep his body in shape for the next season, and he puts mad money into his body every single year in the offseason. When I heard this, it's been so many things on social media about, well, it might be true. He started to lose his hair. Look at Barry Bonds. But it's like, I don't think he is. But whenever he broke down the performance enhancing drugs that he is saying that LeBron is supposedly taking, you start to think about it and like, okay, it kind of makes sense because it's not enhancing one of the drugs is called EPO. It's supposed to give you more red blood cells, make you have higher endurance through your performance when you're actually working out or when you're actually playing the game. And when you think about it, it's not something that's like a steroid, like like Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire were said to be taking. It's something that is supposed to give you more endurance. And one thing that I do like that Kel said was, whenever you think about people, you think about use and abuse. If he's using it, then it's not bad because you get prescribed a certain amount that you can take. But if you are abusing it, going over your prescription, then that's when it's a problem. If LeBron is doing this, and I don't think he is, for the record, I don't think LeBron is doing this. It's all alleged, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But if he is, LeBron has that mentality to where he doesn't have an abusive mentality. And if he is using it, he's using it along the lines that his doctor has prescribed him. But I'm going to go on the record and say, LeBron ain't using no PEDs, bro. Like, I don't think he is. What you think, Brian? What you think, Lo?
I appreciate you calling me Bron, but I'm a long way from Bron. So we don't like to get into the sensationalism. We try to discuss only things that, for the most part, are fully developed and have a lot of facts behind it, and that can be validated rather than just putting out stuff so that we can get views, get people to follow us, or just beat the algorithm. That's not what we do.
That's not what we do.
But this story was so hard to stay away from, mainly because we love LeBron. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you said,
Favorite player, yeah.
Jordan is always going to be up there. Kobe's always going to be up there. Those type of players, they're always going to be held up there. But for as far as greatest player of this generation, we rock with LeBron.
For sure.
And so, if you regularly listen to our show, we probably mentioned Bron maybe 75% of the episodes.
For sure.
In some fashion,
do.
Bron has came up in at least 75% of our episodes. So the allegations that came out were, needless to say, concerning.
Yeah.
Why are they concerning? Because if true, and I'm going on record as well, I don't think they are true. It strips away all the credibility that he as a player has put into naturally working hard to get everything that he's received from not only playing basketball but outside of the court as well, off the court as well. Sure. It just taints his legacy.
It does 100%.
Completely. It just completely taints it. Like, everybody already try to put asterisks around the bubble championship. Everybody tries to put asterisks around the championship where they beat the Spurs because the season was shortened and all that stuff. Everybody just always trying to belittle LeBron's career like it's not amazing at the stuff that he's done. So it taints that. And then you have to deal with all the people that hate on LeBron already. So those three things is like, damn, this is really concerning, because you
Mhm.
want all of this to be just to go away, and to
100%.
you always want to see LeBron as how we see LeBron. Obviously, it's going to be a opposite side, opposite viewpoint of how we see him. And
Mhm.
we not D riding, but we just know greatness when we see it. So I have a hard time believing that this is true, just like you. I just don't I don't think LeBron and his team, his camp is that stupid to have his name or anybody directly affiliated with him going to a known drug guy, a known PED person to get him some drugs to enhance his whatever it is that he's trying to enhance. However, I'm not going to act like this is the first time I heard it. I did
Facts.
hear
This is
this.
not the
I
first
have
time I
heard
heard it
this.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
heard this before, and so it really peaked around the time, 2014, when he caught the cramps, against the Spurs in the finals, and
Mhm.
then the next year when he joined Cleveland, he wasn't playing exactly right. He had lost a bunch of weight, and he took 2 weeks away from the team, and he came back, and
Mhm.
so it's not the first time, but even then, when we heard it, it wasn't validated.
Right.
And the league is heavy on testing players when they, just testing players in general now. Like, Damian Lillard the other night scored 71 points. Him and Donovan Mitchell, they get drug tested the next time. Or Danny Green caught a body off the rim. He got drug tested. So I mean,
Mhm.
we haven't heard about LeBron getting drug tested, but I'm sure he's been drug tested multiple times, and
Yeah.
none of these allegations have come out. So
See, the
definitely,
big thing about you go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My
no,
fault.
I just don't think it's true.
I don't think it's true either. But the biggest thing is that there is no the Congress won't pass. Well, the four major sports don't want invasive blood testing:
Mhm.
baseball, basketball, football, soccer. They won't let they won't allow there to be invasive blood testing because it's again too invasive. They want their players to be healthy. They don't want anything to go wrong. Blood testing is too invasive because it involves needles going in the veins. Things could happen, right?
Mhm.
So whenever they're drug testing these players, it's only urinalysis testing, and a whole lot of these banned substances don't show up through urine.
Mhm.
So that's the biggest gap. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? And this is not, I'm not no way saying that LeBron is doing this because I don't believe that he is. It's still all allegations.
Before you get into that, well, if they don't do that, how were just the three individuals that I'm thinking of, Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds, and Lance Armstrong, how were they caught? Is it just
That's a good,
he say, she say?
that's a good question. I think that's a really good question. I'm gonna have to look into that because I didn't look into that as much as I was just thinking about LeBron. But
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken,
Well,
it
take
was
Lance Armstrong off then, because you said basketball, baseball, football, and soccer. So Barry
mhm,
Bonds, Mark McGuire, and Alex Rodriguez, I guess. How were they?
and yeah, all of them,
Yeah,
yeah.
countless baseball players.
Jose
How were they
Canseco, who
caught?
wrote a book about it, right?
Yeah, how were they caught if they aren't doing invasive blood tests, and they're only doing urine tests, but these individuals were known to be steroid users?
That's a really good. That's something I'm gonna have to research and see how they were actually caught. I mean,
Yeah,
look it up
not
right
to
now.
throw you off. My bad, man. I'm
No, you
sorry.
good. You good. You good. You good. But I don't know exactly how they were caught. I think if I'm gonna go on record and saying, I
It's
think it
just
was all he say, she say.
he say, she say. Yeah, and they probably just confessed to it after it was
Facts.
publicly known. Yeah.
Investigators searched the home of Anderson Bond's personal trainer. Investigators seized documents that showed Bonds was using banned drugs. So
Okay.
it was an open investigation. They had to find some semblance, some record, some public record for them to say, okay, yeah, these are the drugs that Bonds has been taking, and all of these
Yeah.
drugs are on the banned substance list. So they had to seize documents saying there wasn't any blood test that was done. Investigators seized documents to say, yeah, Barry Bonds was taking these banned substances. So
Okay.
that's how they found out. So but I don't think Congress will ever pass that bill, and I don't think any of the players' associations for these leagues will ever have that bill passed. For
Yeah.
Congress to say yes, you can do invasive drug testing to make sure that these players are not performance enhancing. I think
Yeah.
that's ever going to happen. But what the problem is that they need to figure out, some scientists out there, that ain't gonna be me, but some scientists out there needs to figure out a way that you can test for these things through urine. So that way you can see if, God, Lord, please don't say it's him, but you can see if LeBron is actually taking EPOs and testosterone and stuff like this, that what Kale said that he was taking. He also called out Tiger Woods. Like,
yeah, he's just throwing straight bullets left and right, man.
He Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't believe he is, but you know.
Yeah. Again, I think we both don't agree and believe that LeBron is actually doing it because of what we think we know. I'll just say think we know. We think we know with how he treats his body. The information that's disclosed to us, let's just say that, not say think we know. The information that's disclosed to us about how he treats his body in the off season, how hard he works, you know, it would be hard to believe. And the argument, the last thing I'll say, the argument that gets put out there is, well, how is he able to play this long, be this dominant still, not have the amount of injuries that he's seeming to have lately, but not have a lot of injuries throughout his career? Why nobody asked that about Tom Brady?
That's a fact, because Tom Brady played 20 years too.
You know what I mean? So,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Tom Brady had a real good workout regimen in the off season as well. So why are you not saying this about him? That's a strong point, D-Lo. It's a strong point.
And I'm not trying to implicate Tom Brady whatsoever. Love Tom Brady too, but Tom Brady plays a way more grueling sport, albeit he's a quarterback, but he was able to play 20 plus years. And so if you're going to ask these questions about LeBron, then you should be asking similar questions to anybody that played a long, lengthy amount of time and not having major injuries. Tom Brady had a couple injuries early on in his career, but later on, he was pretty healthy throughout, changed his diet and all that. And same thing with LeBron has been doing, changed all of his diet. He's constantly changing his diet. And then, like you said, putting $1 million into his body every year to make sure that he's in peak readiness to play the next season. So you're wrong for that, Kale, throwing them strays like that for some sensationalism.
Sensation, just out there, you know, trying to go viral. That's what I feel like. It's a viral society these days, man. And you can say one thing and boom, you got 1 million views on your video, on your reel, or whatever you. And I think this all started. He was talking. I watched a little small segment from his actual podcast. He has a podcast as well, and he said that this all stemmed from, he was having a conversation with a buddy of his, somebody else who also has a podcast, and they were talking about Simone Biles and how people are saying that she's the greatest athlete of all time. And his buddy said that she's an amazing athlete, but he said LeBron is the greatest athlete of all time in his eyes. He was like, no knock on Simone Biles. She's the most amazing gymnast I've ever seen in my life. And she's doing some techniques that nobody's ever seen before in the history of gymnastics. But how can she be the greatest athlete of all time? She's an amazing athlete, but LeBron is the best one. And he was like taken aback, like, what? He was like, bro, basketball is, which he was wrong for. He was like, basketball is easy to play. He said there's a saying that says if something is easy, everybody would be doing it. He said, why do you think everybody plays basketball? It's because it's so easy to do. But it's not easy to be a gymnast. He said, you go anywhere in the state and you'll go to any park, any gym, any elementary school, middle school, high school, you're going to find a basketball court. But can you name me 2 gymnastics studios?
Yeah, so that
he was just going off for some bullshit, but that's what all of this stemmed from, is why he wanted to talk about him using PEDs.
Right. Not to go in depth with that, but his argument for everybody playing basketball and gymnasts is out of context, because the reason the reason you don't have a lot of gymnasts is because it's so damn expensive to be in gymnastics.
Yes.
I mean, what?
I was trying to put Sam in gymnastics when she was a kid. I said, it cost how much? So, baby, we're gonna go play basketball. We're gonna go.
You know what I'm saying? It's a vacant basketball court, a ball and a hoop at your local recreation center. It's not a local recreation center that has a gymnastics arena. You know what I
Definitely
mean?
is not.
So that's out of context, but
It's,
whatever.
it's it's more it's more out of popularity that you don't see many gymnast studios than
Right.
you see basketball courts, because the basketball is a more popular sport. It ain't got nothing to do with it being easy to do, because it's
Right.
definitely not. Me and
It's
D'Lo
not
played
easy to.
basketball. It's not an easy sport to play.
Yeah.
So I mean, you run and you throw a ball in a hoop. It sounds easy in theory, but if you actually get to playing it and you actually get down to the fundamentals of the game, and it's not an easy sport to play.
Not at
Period.
all. Not at all.
But
But
that's where a lot of this context came from, is they were talking about Simone Biles, and he thinks Simone Biles is the greatest athlete in the world, obviously. And he talking about LeBron can't be because basketball is the easy sport to play. That's crazy. And then he want to go off on a tangent the next week talking about him. Bruh,
I
Kel,
get
you
it.
wrong for that.
I get
Kel,
it.
you
You
wrong
know,
for
Joe
that, bro.
Button said COE, content over everything. That's what we living
Content
in
over
right now.
everything. That's
Content
exactly
over
what
everything. So
it is. What it
anyway,
is.
man. LeBron, we still rock with you, bro. Let's not
I'm
have
never
this
gonna
be
stop
true.
rocking with you, G.
Yeah, let's
That
not
shit
have this be true.
might not be able to rock no more.
Episode 19 sticks done.
Done, buddy. Done,
Yeah.
brother. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always fun to get up on here with you, man, and have these conversations with you. You're my brother. I love you to death, and I love that having this with you, man. It's like this is my baby right here, man. I love this
Yeah.
right here. Right
Yeah.
here, man. I love it.
Yeah. So I mean, let's see what the first segment do for us. And then maybe we have to disagree more. COE.
See ya. Go to
Yeah,
the Joe
Joe,
Budden ingredient, right?
Joe, don't come for us for that, man. We just playing around.
Please don't. Yeah, we
But
messing with you.
this has been Too Complex. We hope you enjoyed today's show. You can find us on any of your major podcast streaming services. Make sure you subscribe. Like. Oh, you want me to say all of them? Okay, I was gonna wait till we get to the YouTube and all that. Okay, I'm gonna wait till we get to YouTube. So make sure you subscribe, so you don't miss an episode. Follow us on all of our social medias: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and comment. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I'm
Yeah.
gonna let Sticks finish it out. But remember, if it ain't too complex, it ain't complex at all. We
Oh.
appreciate your support, and until next time. Oh, Sticks, I forgot. Go ahead with the. Go ahead.
Oh, I
With
don't know what you want me to do. Oh, yeah. So
okay.
that way you listen to these bangers. Make sure
Yeah,
you hit the notification bell too, so you can know exactly when the content drops on the channel, my boy.
100%. And we appreciate y'all support. And until next time, salute.
Salute.